Welcome back. Well, for sector and comparative analysis of second quarter oil and gas earnings performance, we'll focus on their turnover, profit after tax, earnings per share, price to earnings ratio, book value per share, profit margin, return on equity, turnover, return on equity. For now, we'll start with turnover, and I will look at about 6 companies. We have right here the companies that we are looking at: Total Oil, Seplat, Itana, MRS, Conoil, and Adova. And so we'll look at 2021 and 2022. We'll have that displayed on the screen shortly. And so for 2021, looking at Total Oil, they had 151.3 billion naira. And then in 2022, they had 209.01 billion naira. The percentage change there is 38.12. And now looking at Seplat in 2022, 219.20 billion naira. And in 2021, 120.44 billion naira. That's 82% change. Itana right now, 57.22 billion naira in 2022. And in 2021, 37.99 billion naira. That's 50.60% change. For MRS, 42.66 billion naira in 2022 and 36.75 billion naira in 2021. What we have there is 16.09% change. For Conoil, 56.25 billion naira in 2022 and 67.64 billion naira in 2021. Oh, that's a negative, minus 16.84%. Adova now 126.65 billion naira in 2022 and it's 7.77 billion naira in 2021. What we have there is 45.96% change. Now let's look at its turnover. Would you say this is impressive? Let's start with you, Ambrose.
I would say that the top line of these companies are really impressive. Growing their top line more than 15% growth for me is a good one. But you know that top line is not only factor you want to use to look at the company performance, but on this trend, the companies apart from the Conoil that recorded a decline. But the good thing is that if you look at Conoil performance before night, have been consistent. Before we saw this kind of drop, something has happened. And also when you are not eating to a new market, your top line. You have to question it, because that means you are not expanding your business, you're not entering new market, you're not bringing new product. But for others who have seen that the positive news for the sector or the fundamental news is also impacting all of them, that you can see a positive performance from the companies in that industry. I see it's a good one.
Okay, Mr. Garba, do we have you now? Can you comment on this? All right, let's have you then.
Yeah, looking at the oil and gas sector, we expect so much from that sector, and I believe they're also doing the best they can in terms of the operating environment. Taking Seplat, for example, now, raising that by over almost 80%. Of course, it goes to show not only the operating environment now, but the management of the company. It shows that these are people who are dedicated. These are people who are ready to play within the rules. These are people who know their business very well. I mean, increasing turnover by almost 80%. It shows that they have a strategic plan. And of course, they are also operating in an environment where they are in tune, in touch with the community.
Can you say this has something to do with, the surging price of oil?
Well, that could also contribute to it. But you know that if all that is going on and we are not able to meet our outputs in terms of production, the ones OPEC has given to us, that will also affect our revenue. But for Seplat, we have seen that they have really done well, and that's why we are seeing the figures that way. Operating in the oil and gas industry is a very technical business. And apart from that, you must also take care of the environment and, of course, the people in where you are operating for you to have this kind of result. So it goes to show that Seplat's board and management have done what it takes to continue. And, of course, I see Seplat continuing in that way because of the way they operate.
All right, 82%. That's actually
is there for us.
Oh, okay. Please go on, Mr. Garba.
Yeah. Hello, sir.
Mr. Garba, if you can hear me, please go ahead.
Okay, my observation as regard to Seplat is that I would like to know the actual crude oil they exported to sell, because the price of crude oil doubled. And I did not see their turnover.
Mr. Garba, let me come in there. I don't know if there is anything that is playing in the background where you are. Maybe a television or a radio set or a phone. Okay, so you can go ahead if you've addressed that. Mr. Garba? All right, so I think you were the one speaking.
Yes, I have addressed it now.
Okay.
What I'm saying that for Seplat, even though they increased by 82%, I'm not convinced there is much increase in their crude oil turnover because the price doubled. And where the price doubled and your turnover did not double, I do not think that you have met up your previous turnover, because if you have doubled, I will take it as price appreciation. In any way, the price changed because of that increase of 82%, but more or less I see it in the other like ethanol oil, which we can say that due to the acquisition of another company that increased their turnover, the MRS and corn oil is neither here nor there. Everybody knows that the product of diesel have doubled the price.
Yes.
The product of crude, the oil, the lubricant have doubled. The product of the gas have doubled. Why their turnover did not show that reflected? We can forgive them for the white product, that the PMEs, which is not much all available for sale. But the other sectors that are available for them, we know the price has doubled. Why did it not reflected in their turnover? Anyway, we are satisfied with the changes in their profitability because most of them, they have done very well. And we say well done for that is the stop to watch across the board.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Okay, let's look at the profit after tax now. And then we'll start with Total Oil as always. In 2022, 8.53 billion naira. In 2021, 8.07 billion naira. That's 5.7% change. All right. And then for Seplat, it was 35.45 billion naira. That's profit after tax in 2022. That's second quarter. And then for second quarter 2021, Seplat had 14.12 billion naira. The change there, 151.06. For Etana, 1.25 billion naira, second quarter 2022, 433.04 million naira, second quarter 2021. And the change there is 189.26%. A huge one. I can see everyone is nodding. And then for MRS, it was 351.81 million naira. And then in 2021, it was 151.54 million naira. The change there, 132.15. Corn oil, 1.81 billion naira in 2022 second quarter. And in 2021, 1.06 billion naira. The change there, 70.55. Adova, minus 1.15 billion naira 2022. And in 2021, 1.78 billion naira. That's in the negative. So we have minus 164.45%. That's it. So where do we let's start with you, Charles.
Yes, again, looking at the profit after tax, of course, we are happy that the oil and gas contribute a lot to Nigerian economy. You can see, after paying government, you can see what they are still declared, what is still left for themselves to expand their business and also for shareholders. I will just take one of them. Okay, that is a total. The percentage increase, what's the percentage increase for total?
Okay, for total, 5.7.
5.7. For me, that's a little bit low, but of course, it's good that at the end of the day, they were able to increase their performance. I always maintain operating in the oil and gas industry is not an easy task. There's a lot of problems, a lot of regulations, a lot of issues, security, vandalization, and for these companies to be in this sector. And at the end of the day, they are paying governments their tax, and they're also increasing the profit after tax for the shareholders, and of course to improve their company. But coming to talk of the oil and gas company that has a negative profit after tax, that is a loss. Which company is that? Corn oil?
No, Adova.
Adova. Well, Adova has always been in the news, but I would just encourage the management and board to see how they can reposition themselves, very well, try to see where the problems are and begin to. But first and foremost, you must be attuned with your environment, where they are operating. They must be good with the people there, and ensure that all the best practices, international best practices, when they come to oil and gas industry, they should begin to have that in their strategy. And of course, if they do that diligently, we'll begin to see some improvement. Those numbers, trying to become positive from negative.
All right, I think right now we'll move on to the earnings per share, and we'll start with Total Oil as always. 25.12, that's 25 naira 12 kobo.
Wow.
That's for Total Oil, and then for Seplat, 59 naira 87 kobo. For Itana, that's 96 kobo. For MRS, 1 naira 15 kobo. For Konoy, 2 naira 61 kobo. And for Adova, 88 kobo. I'd like Mr. Galba to comment on this one.
Well, I will start with the least one, the Ardova. Ardova have just acquired another company
Yes.
and marked into their company, but I'm seeing this negative scare me because it's the same growth that we experienced on Ondo. When Ondo went and acquired this and acquired this, instead to see more dividend, we are seeing losses. Does acquisition mean losses, or what else is happening with this acquisition? If it will take you to the negative level, I believe the shareholder would say, don't acquire.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't forget that Ardova also succeed in bidding of these marginal fields.
Yeah.
They are among of those who are successful. So when we see expansion is not reflected in the bottom line, we get scared. But say congrats to the Seplat. I will say the same to the Total, because they justified their current price at the end of the market.
Exactly.
The market has already foreseen that one are rewarded there. The only one that we are neither here nor there is the corn oil.
All right, thank you. Let's move on to the price to earnings ratio now, and of course we'll have you comment on that particular one. So I need you to prepare all your arsenal. So for price to earnings ratio for Total, it was 9.34. For Seplat, it was 23.89. For Itana, 6.77. For MRS, it was 12.52. Connell, 9.94. And Adova, well, in the negative again, as expected, 15.54. So, Bruce, your thoughts?
Yeah, actually, if you look at the pay ratio, it tells you how long it takes to recoup your investment in this company. If the earning remains stable or constant at that price, but if they grow their earning, it's also going to shorten your waiting. But the good thing is that if you look at a matured market or any market, you want to say what is the earning ratio in average. For this company, if you take the average, I'll tell you most of them is above the average, which tells you that they've done well in terms of pay ratio performance. It tells that these stocks are cheap. That's what they reflect, because this is another way of valuing a company. If you start doing any mathematics, just looking at pay ratio, tell you whether a company is undervalued or not. But from the figure we're seeing, most of them are also cheap stock. But the good thing that, as Alaji have said and my colleague here,
okay, so you can say that Seplat is cheap.
No, it's cheap. Yeah, because we're going to answer. They have, we have different model of valuing company, and this Seplat on its own has constantly paid dividend every quarter. For 2022, they have paid almost 24 naira, 12 naira in the first quarter, 12 naira declared again for this quarter. That is 24 naira for year to date. They pay as dividend. If they continue 12 naira, at the end of the year, they must give you like almost 48 naira. And we're seeing their second quarter P ratio, any per share at 59. Now, at the end of the year, you are sure getting like 100 naira, any per share. Paying 50 naira or 60 naira, for me, it's a good one for the company. But I think that looking at this P ratio, it tells you that these companies are cheap. But one thing I want to look at the one that you see as has the higher potential, the upside. You are going to make money as investor. We know that for Seplat, consistency is there, and because oil price is above $100, but for now it has pulled back to below $100. But because for me, that has been in the market for a long time, and also because of what is happening globally, this distortion will remain. Oil price will not stay long below $100 to bounce back again to above $100. That was going to support Seplat because into oil business, crude oil business, that for Seplat. But the one that really interests me, and I want to encourage you, that let's look the way of Etana. Etana is the baby in that sector. As I speak now, it has overtaken even the so-called Owando, because what the acquisition that happened in that company is fueling value for investors to see now. Before you can't see Etana in most of the states or most of the major roads in Nigeria, but today, because of the merger and acquisition, you can see the company is more visible everywhere, and it's reflecting on the number. I tell you that the sales we are seeing, the number we are seeing, for me, every investment is against the future. There's an opportunity for you to buy. People are looking at the tender offer they just did at 13 naira 50 kobo. I told one of my friend that it's going to surpass, the real price will surpass it when this number consistently hit the market positively. For me,
I think this is a good place to end this particular one right now. Well, very quickly, we'll go to the last one, and that's return on equity. For Total, it was 19.36. For Seplat Retail, it was 4.84. For Itana, it was 9.37. For MRS, it was 2.01. For Cornwall, it was 7.68, and for Adova, it was minus 7.20. Now, return on equity is actually used when comparing the financial performance of companies within the same industry. It's actually a measure of the ability of management to generate income from the equity available to it. And of course, there is a percentage return that makes you feel that, okay, this company is doing well. So I'd like Ambrose to land on that. So we just end that conversation.
no, for me, the return on equity.
In less than a minute.
Yeah, for me, any company that has 15% and above, I would say that is really good for investor. But anyone that is around 12 that is still going forward, fine. But I believe for a good investment, your return on equity should be above what? Above 15%.
Okay, but what we have here, the only one that is above that is Total.
Yes,
19.3.
exactly. It says that total return is, you also look at total performance and the share in issue and the payout tells you that it justifies that position.
Okay.
But others can still attain that.
All right, I think this
20
is a good
seconds. Yes, we have seen all these numbers. Investors are looking
you
for.
said 20 seconds.
Yes,
I'm
investors
counting.
are looking for value stocks.
Okay.
Because they believe that some of these stocks, when you look at the number, you know that they are undervalued and they will know which one to position themselves. But they should also now go and combine with technical analysis to make an informed decision.
We'll talk about technical analysis next week. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Charles Pakroha, local business analyst.
My pleasure.
And of course, many thanks to you, and we're always grateful and happy to have you on the show. Ambrose Somodio, the CRO Investor Consulting. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you again.
Well, many thanks to Mr. Kofi Garuba, the MD, APT Securities and Funds Limited. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today.
Tell him he's my doyen.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
Doyen, well done, sir.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for coming on the show.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. That's our offering on the show for today. Many thanks for watching. I am Perpetua Fasami Peter. Bye for now and do enjoy the rest of the day. We'll meet again.